right, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Finally, we are back here at Wrestling Supercharged. This is the rebranded, new and improved podcast pit. I am your host, former professional wrestler, promoter of Voltage Wrestling, jack of all trades, master of what I do not know, Mike Raddick. I am alongside my broadcast partner, Rennis the Menace Carball. How you doing, Rennis?
I'm doing great, Mike. How about yourself?
Not too bad, not too bad. A change of venue, but hey, we're here, we are back, and we are ready to go. It has been a wild month in the world of professional wrestling. We're going to talk all about the last month, all the happenings, all the moments that have made the last month probably one of the best months of professional wrestling in recent memory. We've got to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and start it off. I do want to talk about Voltage Wrestling and our debut in Hagerstown next week to start this all off. We are debuting in Hagerstown, Maryland, Suite 710 next Saturday night, October 16th, in a basically a joint venture, a super show, if you will, with the good folks at Adrenaline Wrestling. We are going to bring you wrestling action like you have never seen it before here in Hagerstown. A stacked card from top to bottom. We're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but first, let's go ahead. We're going to get into some wrestling news here. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our first story. Look at that. Our first story, ladies and gentlemen, hell has indeed frozen over. CM Punk has returned to the world of professional wrestling. We were just as excited as anybody about this return. It's been 7 long years at this point. Rennis, I know you have a lot to say about this. Your thoughts on CM Punk returning?
Yeah, man. I've been a CM Punk fan ever since that. Sorry, I'm also answering comments. If you're in the comments section, I will get to you as much as possible. Robbie Page, yes, this is the new podcast. But yeah, I've been a CM Punk fan for a very, very long time. Ever since ever since they brought him to the main roster, so to speak. He and Bryan Danielson were two of the guys who kind of brought me back into. I'd always been watching, but really kind of got me back interested in the WWE. And I've been waiting. I followed Punk's career when he left the WWE, when he tried his hand at UFC poorly. Was not, but I'm glad to see him back. I was watching Rampage that night. And Mike, I think you can probably attest to this. That was one of the loudest audience pops on television that I've ever seen. How about yourself?
Well, the guys in the previous generation of professional wrestlers, especially on the indies, they used to always coin this term. It was the Road Warrior pop. I think they need to rename that to the CM Punk pop after that. I mean, honestly, that was like one of the loudest reactions that I've ever heard. That's probably one of the loudest reactions in the United Center's history, and I believe that is saying something.
Yeah.
One of the great sports moments that have gone down there. But CM Punk back in the fold, back wrestling again, and I got to say this: the last time that we saw him before his return, he wasn't looking too good, man. Like last time we saw him in the world of professional wrestling, I want to reiterate.
Yeah,
he wasn't looking too good. Like he just looked I'll be honest with you, he looked unhealthy. The one thing that I noticed, he just seemed to be in good spirits, just taken back by the pop, taken back by the fans' reaction to him. I know over the last month, there's been reports of those reactions waning a little bit. But having said that, and I did not realize I still have the CM Punk graphic up over your face. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. As long as you can hear me.
Hey, we're baby steps, guys.
We're doing it live, pal.
We're live, pal. Though, but no. So the one thing I have seen those responses waning a little bit.
Sure.
All the feel good juju. It's probably going to come to an end here. Which means there's going to need to be some changes for CM Punk.
Yeah. I think it's yet to be seen, kind of his big story, so to speak. Right now they're just, they gotta give him some ring time. They gotta see what And I will say there is a difference in his style a little bit. Big Trouble Ben Bishop, friend of the channel, friend of Voltage Wrestling, He'll be there next week, wrestling with Michael Zamato. But he posted on Twitter something like he's wrestling like a big man, and I can't disagree with that. There's some of that. There's some of that style now. He's older. He's not as fast. He's not as limber as he used to be. But man, that first match against Darby Allin was. I was so glad. I was a little worried at first. Haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
But he wrestled well. He wrestled pretty well. I was happy.
Yeah, and held his own in there with somebody who was a lot younger and probably a lot faster than him at this point.
Yeah.
Take nothing away from CM Punk. I mean, CM
Right.
Punk's always been great in the ring. But having said that, somebody a lot younger and faster, and you kind of held your own in there with him. I also loved just the shades of the old not CM Punk, Bret Hart and 1-2-3 Kid match.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot of little spots in there that kind of like threw you back a little bit to that time when that's when we were growing up. That was our heyday of watching wrestling, sitting in front of the TV on a Saturday morning. I kind of appreciated the nostalgia, so to speak, in regards to that. But, having said all that, CM Punk wasn't our only return over the last month. No, not at all.
Or surprise, really.
Yeah, I was pretty taken back by all the returns that have happened this last month. The other one, and we'll talk about Adam Cole as well, but I really want to get into this, and I'm going to put this graphic up. This is Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson. Yes, indeed, Bryan Danielson has returned. And, dude, nothing short of stellar from the American.
I was here watching I was at my house here watching with some friends, watching All Out. And for those of you who didn't watch All Out, so everyone thought that CM Punk was going to show up. So at the end of the show, Adam Cole shows up. That was a huge surprise. Kind of hit us with a swerve. And while I was excited and I popped, I was like, oh man, maybe he's not. Maybe they're going to wait on Bryan. Maybe all the rumors will fall. And then I heard the top of the Flight of the Valkyries, and I tell you, I think I told you this. Me and my buddy popped. I popped so loud you probably could have heard me on the street. My voice was shot for 2 or 3 days. I lost it.
Yeah, honestly, it was just really awesome to see him.
Yeah.
Back in the world of wrestling, kind of outside of the WWE bubble, because you kind of see a different Bryan Danielson outside of their bubble. Like
you see the technical possibly the best technical wrestler in the world right now.
I'll say probably the best technical wrestler in wrestling since Chris Benoit. Not to bring that name up. I don't know how people feel about that. However, still best technical wrestler since Benoit. And at the end of the day, that's as far as the in-ring stuff, that's high praise. Outside,
while we're on the subject of Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, but for those of you who have not or who do listen to Jim, someone might want to check on Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
He has been praising AEW lately, and he said, every time I see a quote of his praising AEW, I'm like, man, someone might want to check on Jim. Someone might want to make sure he's doing all right. Because but however, he did say the Bryan Danielson. He said the CM Punk return was. He said it's not the way I would have done it. It was way better. It was wow. It was perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, you can't get a bigger praise than that. I'm sorry.
He praised the Bryan Danielson Kenny Omega match, and he does not like Kenny Omega at all. He said Kenny Omega finally had the dance partner he needed.
Yeah,
and that match was awesome. It was It went to a 30-minute time limit draw.
Yeah, and I'm gonna get to some comments here momentarily.
Yeah.
Because I know
Robbie
Page and Big Daddy C, in the comments right now, and I want to go ahead and address those here in a minute. However, I do want to say, with all due respect to Kenny Omega hasn't had those matches with like the big time American talent quite yet, and I think with like Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, and talent like that coming over. You're going to see a lot more of that. You're going to see the Kenny Omega that everybody knows that Kenny Omega could be the best bout machine. All that stuff. I think you're going to see that in more of an American style, and I'm sorry, for my money, I mean, Kenny Omega is probably one of the top 5 in the world right now. I mean, easily.
Yeah.
And
Well,
there should be no question about that. After
he
this
was the
last year.
PWI #1 this year.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I mean for
that
good
happened
reason.
while we were on our
I
break.
mean, for good reason. Roman Reigns could have easily had that too, because
Yeah, and that's
he's
what
had
they
a
said.
hell of a year.
Yeah, that's what they said. That I listened to an interview with the editor of PWI, and he said something along the lines of it was really between the two of them. But Kenny Omega has been able to do things other places, which kind of set him over
Yeah,
Roman Reigns.
yeah. I mean, all due respect to Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns is holding titles in multiple different organizations around the world that are top
Yeah.
organizations in each country. So I mean, I think that's what Kenny had going for him. Not to mention the quality of talent that he's working. Like, there's times where Roman Reigns has to work talents where the talent he's got to make the talent work up to him. And,
Right.
Kenny Omega is kind of working with some of the best talents in the world each and every night. So that there's factors in that from a kayfabe standpoint, so to speak. There are factors that go into the PWI 500, and those are some of them. I mean that's
Right.
there you have it. I mean, at the end of the day, there you have it. But
Big Daddy C, Brian Carbo asked, how long before homegrown AEW talents take a back seat to WWE guys brought in? I don't think that's going to happen. It's the same thing. And honestly, people say there's a lot of AEW or former WWE stars on their roster. Their roster is massive. It's like 130 people, and only 26 are former WWE stars. I have the statistic in front of me. Some of them are not being used a lot. Some of them are being used a ton. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think there's going to be. I don't think Bryan or Punk hold that AEW title or any title for a very long time. I think your next AEW champion is going to be Hangman Adam Page, followed by
Absolutely.
MJF. I don't think you've got those homegrown talents, but a lot of those homegrown talents are young. Jungle Boy is going to be a champion in a couple years. He is so over, and
I'm
he's
going to be
so
honest
good.
with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I expect him and Luchasaurus to be tag team champions by the end of 2022.
Yeah, agreed.
That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe that's going to happen. I mean, that's an act that's over with the kids. There's a lot of merchandising opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And both are great wrestlers to boot.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
they're both super talented.
I'm going to get a Robbie Page's comment about the CM Punk. He was saying it was a good pop. How long before he does something that's garbage? I hope not, but AEW is 50-50 with me. I don't think you're going to see him do something that's complete garbage. Honestly, really the only thing that I can even say that was quote-unquote garbage from AEW was that exploding barbed wire match due to the technical mishap.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, for a company doing that for the first time, yeah, it was a little risky rolling the dice to do that. I get it. As long as as long as it didn't become like a habit, like later on down the line, which it hasn't. I don't think they've had a complete dud quite yet, with the exception of that. So,
I think the only other thing that I would qualify as maybe a dud was the broken Matt Hardy. It just didn't work in AEW.
No, I mean, granted too,
it doesn't work. It doesn't work during a pandemic. Yeah, you have to have an audience for that gimmick to even remotely work.
You absolutely do. And Robbie Page saying Page versus Omega, let's do it. Well, yeah. Robbie, if we could find somebody to bankroll that match, I'd be all about it. So, yeah, that match is going to cost a pretty penny. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
If we could find somebody to bankroll it, that'd be great. Good luck tonight to Robbie Page in his WWA title defense. Or I believe he's going against. Yeah, he defends the WWA light heavyweight title tonight down in Martinsburg. So good luck to you on that, and shout out to people down there. And good luck on your show tonight. However, we are going to go ahead and move on. We've got plenty of other stories here, and our next story, we've got to talk about the Arthur Ashe Stadium show.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to cover it. I mean, this is AEW's brightest hour right here. In my humble opinion.
And the Grand Slam show was just It was just incredible. I mean, I brought up the card. Um, I brought up the card in front of me. You've got Thunder Rosa defeated Kayla Sparks. You've got I mean of course it kicked off with the Kenny Omega Bryan Danielson match, which they talked about that on Busted Open Radio, and they kind of said I'm not usually one for 60-minute Iron Man matches, but I could have watched Kenny Omega and Bryan Danielson wrestle 60 minutes in an Iron Man match.
Oh, absolutely.
One,
And I do think you're going to get that. I do think you're going to get that marathon match, but
Yeah.
for my money, I'm sorry, that's like one of the best wrestling matches I've seen on television in a long time.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from
Yep.
top to bottom, that show. I think the show is laid out a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
However, the only thing I would have changed from that show, I probably would have had Ruby Soho go over at the end, or I'd have put CM Punk on at the end,
Right.
just to send fans home happy. However, I get why they didn't do that, and I mean, you're in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, regardless. Right. So,
And we had Malachi Black beat Cody Rhodes, which was fantastic. I loved it.
Oh yeah.
I love the Malachi Black, and I love that Cody lost. We had Sting and Darby Allin defeat FTR, and then we had the Britt Baker Ruby Soho match, which was awesome. That was a great
speaking
match.
Speaking of Cody, you can subtly tell he is trying to get those John Cena-esque reactions.
Yes.
As far as, hey, he's a good guy, but the fans just absolutely hate him.
Oh, yeah. And I think that's exactly what he's... I mean, they're going to go that direction in, where he's a face, but the fans can't stand him.
Yeah, I mean, him coming out dressed as Homelander. It was like basically the Homelander cosplay.
Yes.
Him coming out dressed as that, getting booed out of the building. The stuff with Arn Anderson the next week after that, which was just...
The Arn Anderson stuff has been...
Yes. Arn
awesome.
Anderson, the Arn Anderson and his Glock, man. It's just great.
I take out that Glock and I blow his brains. Oh, I was like, holy... Yeah. Wow, and then you had Goldberg that same week talking about, like, killing Bobby Lashley, or not Bobby Lashley, Big E, or whoever. It's like, oh my goodness. These old dudes gotta chill.
Oh, I know, man. These old dudes, they love their guns, man. They love their guns, man. But, all right.
Jim Zuna makes a good point. I was actually good with Ruby not going over. That dispels the idea of just bringing WWE talent and putting them over and homegrown talent.
No, it's a good point.
Yeah.
It's a very good point. Again, I understand why they did it. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in a situation where you're in a can't-win situation as far as sending fans home happy.
Right.
And, if that becomes a habit, you're going to get like WWE where people are going to complain about it a little bit.
Sure.
However, I get it on this show. You had things that you needed to get through. You had a gigantic show. I don't think anybody expected the response to that. The ticket, as far as the ticket sales are concerned, the response to that show like that. Which is great. That's more wrestling in New York City proper, which is awesome.
Yep. And that is now their stadium. That's their stadium.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're going. I'll say this now. I'm sure eventually they're going to get a show in the Garden.
Oh yeah.
I'm almost positive of it. It's going to happen down the line.
Especially because WWE doesn't fill it anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're not going to fill it. You're not going to fill that arena with the shows that you were putting on right now, especially with Monday Night Raw. SmackDown, maybe.
Yeah, SmackDown maybe.
Because SmackDown's still a good show. It is.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Speaking of shows, and I want to get on WWE here a little bit, but
are you going to NXT?
You already know I'm going to bring up NXT 2.0. I'm going to be honest with you. When I first heard about this, I was like, "Oh my God, they're about to kill NXT."
Mm-hmm. I think everyone was.
Yeah. Now, looking at it now, it isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Still not great.
No, still, I'm not going to say it's great or it's better than the original. I think the look and feel is better.
Hmm.
Like I do like the new look of it. Like it's a more colorful look. Um,
Yeah.
I like the arena setup. And there's some of the talent that I like. I know Joe Gacy has
Hmm.
surprised me. Like I'm a real big fan of the Joe Gacy gimmick, and I think it's going to get a lot of heat.
Braun Breaker is a star. I mean,
Yeah,
he's a star. Easy. He's gonna make it what far. I think what we're gonna see with this new NXT versus the old is when these guys come up from NXT 2.0 to the main roster, there's not going to be a shift in their gimmick anymore. I think you're going to see what you get in NXT 2.0 is what you're going to get on the main roster.
well, that's good.
Um,
That's a good thing, and like I think
yeah,
like the one good thing about Vince McMahon keeping his eye on NXT now is when they get up there, he's not remolding them in his image. Like it's already
yeah, it's already in his
he
image.
already knows what they're doing, what they're capable of, and it's going to be a smooth transition to the main roster rather than
Hmm.
everything just getting screwed up. Which
That
that's been
being
the case.
said, yeah, that being said, I do worry because I'm watching it and these it is much more gimmicky this time around. It's not as real. Like you've got a lot of like character gimmicks and now, which we've been missing for a while, and that could add some flavor. But it seems like they didn't have any for so long, and now it's just boom. It's just all these character gimmicks.
Yes.
Um,
No,
but
I want to get back to that Joe Gacy gimmick,
yeah,
just for a bit.
uh
Honestly, I think this is the breath of fresh air that professional wrestling, as far as WWE is concerned, needs. Um,
huh.
yeah, it's like, have you seen any of the gimmick?
I think so.
Yeah, he's doing the gimmick where he's kind of like it's woke Joe Gacy.
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
there's some political undertones to it. However,
did they keep that or did they get rid of it? Because
uh, I'm
I
pretty sure
haven't
they're
seen.
keeping it.
I haven't been watching a ton of it.
Yeah, I'm
Or
pretty
did they
sure they're
keep
keeping
it?
it.
Okay. Because I know there was some backlash and there was some internal talk of them dropping the kind of woke
I think they're going to
safe
tone it down.
space stuff. Yeah, I think yeah.
And hey, I get that too because I mean you're like the last thing that professional wrestling needs is you don't need to go too political.
Politicized.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't need to go too political in professional wrestling, especially right now with the political climate the way it
Right.
is. You're just inviting unnecessary conflict that's going to make people either boycott you well, on one side or the other, which
Right.
nobody wants.
Nope.
We want as many eyes on the product as we can get. Um, however, this is a gimmick that I know is going to get under the skin of wrestling fans
Yeah.
if done correctly. And
Oh man, he could be a great positive heel.
yeah,
You know what I mean? That like kind of that. Remember Bo Dallas when he was on NXT?
yeah,
That kind of like super positive, but people hated him type.
yep.
I think that it could go over really well if they do it. If they slow play it and play it well. If they don't go too hard to you know what I mean too over the top. It's going to be a good gimmick for him.
No, I truly believe so. You know, within like it's going to be great for NXT.
Hmm.
Obviously, I think the new look and having their own night, and they're
Yeah.
finally away from the Wednesday Night War, is going to be great for it. With the new talent coming in, with especially with the influx of the previous talent, because you still have Ciampa down there, Gargano, you got
Mm.
Loomis and Indy Hartwell still doing their thing. For how long, I don't know. They're
Right.
probably going to get called up soon. However, the wrestling war between the two companies is still going on here.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So I want to talk about this. There is a building in Long Island that they just built, the
Hmm.
UBS Arena, I believe it is. And we'll go ahead and bring this graphic up just real quick here. But they have this building in Long Island. It's the home of the New York Islanders.
Hmm.
And within 2 weeks of each other, WWE and AEW are going head to head. And as far as the gate goes, it's been a pretty thorough ass kicking.
Yeah, AEW is whooping them up, like whooping up on them um, as far as ticket sales so far.
Oh, absolutely. As far as ticket sales and I'll be honest with you, getting into this New York market for AEW is going to be huge.
Hmm.
They're already firmly established in the Chicago market.
Yeah.
They're like really starting to firmly establish the New York market. If they can do this consistently, that's going to be great.
Hmm.
And basically, all that leaves is Los Angeles.
Right. And I think we see a Los Angeles show in 2022, maybe not until 2023.
Yeah, like I'll be honest with you. Once the new Clippers arena gets built out there, I think it's going to be a lot easier to
Right.
do.
Well, I also don't think they'll head out there until COVID is kind of done and over,
Yeah,
or in a manageable. You know what I mean?
yeah, because I think
Because of the
California's
restrictions in LA, like, and they just passed more.
yeah,
Um,
I think California's like really hardcore with it right now. Which
yeah.
yeah, I mean we are in like I get it to an extent, but we're in like
Right.
eventually you got to get back to life. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I know that's not a popular opinion, but eventually you have to get back to life, or society breaks down.
Hmm.
Now, I will say, going out there, once that Clippers arena gets built, it's going to open up that world for AEW. Pretty much because, outside of the Staples Center, the only real other arena they have out there is the LA Sports Arena, which is in a really bad area of town.
Yeah.
So, I think, honestly, I think this is going to be great. I mean, you get the Arrowhead Pond in Anaheim, but that's far outside of like LA proper.
Hmm.
So. I mean, really, once that opens up, it's going to change the game out there significantly.
Yeah.
So, all right. But back to WWE. I do want to get back to them and talk about them a little bit more. The big news, especially for the Raw brand. And give me 1 second here. Well, I thought I had it in here. Well, we won't go to a slide. Big E won the WWE Championship.
Yep.
Finally, long time coming.
I think not a more deserving guy. I mean, he's been a workhorse of that company since he got there. Just a super nice guy, funny guy, talented guy. I think it was the right move.
Yeah, absolutely, it was the right move. A long time coming. It leaves Xavier Woods as the only one from the New Day that hasn't won the championship, and it looks like they're going to start trying to see what he has to bring to the table here soon.
Yeah.
I think he's, if I'm not mistaken, he's kind of slated to. The rumors and innuendo are saying that he is slated to win the King of the Ring.
Yeah, that's what I've been seeing. I've been seeing a lot of rumors and a lot of push for him to win King of the Ring.
Yeah.
Because they're bringing back the King of the Ring tournament. They're doing the women's Queen's Crown tournament. I think that is going to that Xavier Woods is going to win that, and I think that's going to start to propel him towards a championship run with something on a singles championship run, whether that be. I think they might start him off with that Intercontinental belt. I think would be a great belt for him to hold for a little while.
Yeah, no, and it would be it'd be nice for him to be pushed in that single spotlight because he hasn't had a lot of that. He's been mainly a tag team guy, especially even with the New Day. I know like a couple of them, like Kofi and Big E, they ventured out on their little singles runs. It's about time he does the same thing, and they could be the most successful group since the Shield.
Yeah.
I mean, looking back on it, that's the way things are looking. I want to go to Robbie Page's comment here. Storylines and wrestling. That's what wrestling is missing. Not enough wrestling.
On a 2 to 3 hour program, fans tune in.
Fans tune in and see matches, actions. Less talk, more wrestling.
Yeah, that's my biggest problem with Raw.
Yeah. Same.
I mean, it's a 3-hour show and there's maybe 20 minutes of wrestling.
Yeah.
It's just exhausting.
I think that's why and I know we put it over a lot of it. I think that's why I like watching AEW.
Sure.
It's just there's more action. There's less bullshit. You're not getting a lame backstage segment just to get somebody on TV. It's just there's less bullshit involved.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, we're wrestling fans. We tune in to see wrestling, and I think they have enough good wrestlers to keep us engaged for a long period of time.
Yep.
this past week's AEW Dynamite wasn't particularly my most it wasn't particularly a great show.
Mm-hmm.
However, even on the bad ones, you still have something that you're excited about. Adam Page coming back, and
Yep.
winning that casino ladder match. We're finally gonna get to see the Kenny Omega Adam Page match that we
Yeah,
to see for
which has been the biggest. I found there was a Twitter feed a couple months ago of someone laying out basically the entire Hangman Adam Page storyline, and whether you like it, whether you think so or not, it has been a long time story. It has been one of AEW's first long plays.
Yeah, I think the big thing with that is it was told so subtly.
Yes.
It wasn't. Yeah, there wasn't they weren't beating you over the head with it.
No.
They weren't shoving it down your throat and be like, "Hey, remember this is what happened. This is what happened. Do you remember this?" It was more of a just a lot of subtle undertones to the story rather than.
And AEW benefits from that for a couple reasons because they only have 4 or 5 pay-per-views a year, so they can afford to tell term stories. Whereas you have WWE where you're getting stories started and ended within 4 to 6 weeks of the story. I mean, there's not a whole lot of long-term storytelling until you get to Mania season, and even then, it's not always a long-term story. It's kind of 4 weeks, and then it's Mania, then it's over.
Yep, pretty much. The one big thing going forward that I do want to say is I can already see where they're going with this. I can already see Adam Page is probably going to win the title.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Adam Page wins the title, but who do you see next taking it off of him?
Tony Lowe saying Hangman kicks out of the one-winged angel. That would be massive.
Yeah, I'll tell you this right now. Yeah,
there's only been one person to ever kick out of, if I remember correctly, one person to kick out of the one-winged angel, and it was at a Dragon Gate show. Kota Ibushi kicked out in 2009, I believe.
So we're going 11 years, and nobody's kicked out of this move. That would be, it'd be like Captain America grabbing Thor's hammer.
Yeah, it's massive. I mean, no, maybe Kazuchika Okada kicked out, but I know for a fact Kota Ibushi did. Yeah, that would be massive. It's one of the most protected. It's one of the most protected finishers in wrestling.
That is the most protected finisher in wrestling.
Yeah,
right now, absolutely.
Yeah,
and to see that happen would be awesome.
Yeah. Oh man. Oh. I got chills, man. It would just, whoo.
Now I know this, it was either this past week or the week before. I know MJF is already kind of making his push or making his claim to the AEW Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah, I think he's gonna win. I know at Full Gear, they have they're gonna have a title eliminator, and that's at Full Gear is gonna be the finals. I think he's gonna win it there. And then if he wins that, Page could win the title, and then there's a stare down at the end.
Yeah.
Or, they slow play it because I want to see a nice long healthy run with the title from Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, I mean, I figure he's going to hold that belt because Double or Nothing's not until early next year. Am I correct?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see him holding that belt till Double or Nothing, and dropping it to MJF there. I think they can get a good 4 or 5 months out of this.
Yeah.
You've got a group around the man, so you've got a heel factory for Hangman Page to go through after he is done with the Elite, you have a group of guys in that group that can hold their own in the ring. So you've got good foils. It's going to be a wild couple of months. I'll just say that.
Yeah.
So. Other thing we should talk about, going back to WWE, Roman Reigns now has an adversary in Brock Lesnar, and it's been kind of interesting to see Paul Heyman where he kind of fits in all of this.
Yeah, and as much as I'm glad he's back. I'm happy that Lesnar's back. I uh, I can't say I'm super excited about another Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns, but this time is different. This time you're facing a different Roman Reigns and a different Brock Lesnar with the mix-in of this Paul Heyman uh, dynamic. It's actually, I think it's going to be pretty good.
Yeah. You know it's not good?
What?
Guess who just arrived in the chat?
Oh, I saw Captain
Yeah.
Despicable, Captain
Yeah.
the
Okay. All
Captain
right. We're
Crunch,
gonna get all
Captain.
we're gonna get off our national wrestling talk here for a second, and we're gonna talk about what went down September 18th at Voltage Wrestling.
Oh God.
I know me and you have had so many internal talks behind the scenes because we have
Yeah,
been having to deal with the aftermath of this.
yeah.
We've been dealing with
It's
the aftermath for a couple of months.
yeah. From the second it happened to, I mean, just but even before for
Yeah.
the show itself, it was bad. It was rough. It's
This
still it's
it's still rough. Like we've been fielding phone calls back and forth between Stickin and the Riot City camp. We've
yep.
been fielding phone calls back and forth from Captain D and his camp. Um, so for those of you who haven't been following, which most of you here that are listening, you probably have, Captain Decapitate. Captain Decapitate for months has been telling us he has a guy that he's bringing into Voltage Wrestling for months, for weeks. There's weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months, and finally, he came through. He came through on his promise, like I thought he would.
Yeah.
However, I did not realize what was going to go down. So, end of the
None of
show.
us. None of us did.
No, at the end of the show, a successful title defense.
After an incredible last man standing match against Wood of the World, Corey Bush.
Yeah, Corey Bush, put up a valiant effort, but went down the second in the last man standing match. All was well in the world. Captain D comes out and tries to congratulate Sickened, which, I mean, me and you both know.
Yeah.
Don't trust Captain D. Don't trust him. However, his guy shows up, and it is Beastman. Beastman, who has recently, apparently, signed with MLW.
Mm-hmm.
Beastman shows up, and to say he wrecked everything would be an understatement.
Yeah.
Dropped Sickened, dropped Ron Holiday, dropped Jason Drake, dropped them all on their heads, dropped them on Legos.
Yeah.
Threw every chair imaginable in that place onto them.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was dicey.
I don't even know what to
that.
say about it. I've never seen anything like that, and I'll be honest with you. Like, it was pretty scary to watch.
Yeah, and nothing we could do.
That's where I was. There was nothing I could do. We were basically helpless. In the situation. And hey, Captain D, like I know Captain D.
Watching our champion, just ugh.
Yeah, watching our champion beat up like that at the hands. And Captain D made it. He has been saying for months he's taking the ultimate booty back to the ship, and he made his presence known. And
he made a statement, that's for sure.
Yeah, he made a statement. They're already lobbying for title matches, which hey, I'm gonna say it now. You want a title match, you gotta win. You gotta come in here and win some matches first.
Yep,
that's gotta happen.
Yeah,
they're gonna get their opportunity to do so. Very soon, we'll have some announcements on Beastman's first match in Voltage Wrestling very soon. However, I know Captain D's got a second guy he's bringing in.
Right.
Enter Hyena Hex. Hex. He's going to be making his debut in a non-title match against Sickened, because you do have to earn your title shots at Voltage Wrestling.
Yeah.
However, I've seen a little footage of this kid. For a smaller athlete, definitely a hell of a talent. I can't say enough good things about him. However, aligning yourself with Captain D coming in the building, not a good look. Not a good look. But guys, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, make sure you go get your tickets. You can get them at two places: AdrenalineWrestling.com, VoltageWrestling.com. This is going to be a super event. I use that term loosely. We've got Mr. Grimm going one-on-one with Facade, the Neon Ninja, and for those of you who have seen these two come through Hagerstown before, you know what they're capable of. You're in for a treat. We have Sicken going one-on-one with Hyena Hex. And we've got...
In a non-title match.
Yeah, it's a non-title match. We've got the weight of the world, Corey Bush. He's trying to get himself back into title contention. And he is going one-on-one with the wild-eyed headbanger, Mad Max Morrison. That is all going down next Saturday night, October 16th, Suite 710, Hagerstown, Maryland. Get your tickets. VoltageWrestling.com, AdrenalineWrestling.com.
Yeah. It's going to be a heck of a night. I mean, eight or nine matches that night in joint with Adrenaline Wrestling. I mean, it's going to be a good show. You do not want to miss it. It's going to be... I'd wager to say it's going to be one of the best ones that have come through Hagerstown in a while.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Do want to talk about some wrestling outside of the area. I know Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance, they're doing a show Friday night in Short Gap. Friday night, October 15th in Short Gap, West Virginia. You can go to the Elite Pro Wrestling Alliance's Facebook page to get more information on that show. I know tonight, Robbie Page in action down at the Custom Creations building in Martinsburg, West Virginia for WDWA. I know Kevin Mears will be defending his WDWA Heavyweight Championship. Robbie Page is defending his Light Heavyweight Championship. I believe Ricky Reyes, a.k.a. Cortez Castro from Lucha Underground, is going to be at this show. So if you guys are in the Martinsburg area and want to check out some wrestling, go check out WDWA.
Yeah.
They'll be in the area tonight. Customs Creations building, I believe their show starts at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. So get out there, go enjoy a night of professional wrestling. Plenty of professional wrestling here in the area. So
yeah.
I can't wait with this whole new venture, I can't wait to actually get out the shows.
Right, yeah. I'm excited. You and I we've been trying to gather some equipment, gather some stuff that we can go to these shows and we do interviews. We can take footage. We can go and enjoy and analyze and just have a good time.
Yeah. And Robbie Page chimes in. Ricky Reyes is actually going against Cousin Clay. If you've ever seen Cousin Clay down at MCW Pro Wrestling.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a good match.
Yeah,
it's going to be a pretty wild match.
Damian Wayne versus Kevin Mears in a title versus title match.
Oh, wow.
So we have a double champ. Have you
seen Kevin Mears perform yet?
I have not. I have not gotten the pleasure to see it.
Dude, that kid is a horse, man. Kevin Mears, he's one of the best around here. I'll give him that. Yeah. Lots of independent wrestling around here. We hope to see each and every one of you out at shows very soon. It's been a wild month. We have been kind of reorganizing and flying solo for the first time in this podcast's history. Flying solo. It is me and Rennis, and we are navigating the ship here now.
Yeah.
So, a lot of exciting things coming up here in the future. Be sure to tune in every Saturday morning per usual. This is the longest hiatus we will probably ever take. We will be back at you each and every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. right here at Wrestling Supercharged Facebook page. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow us over on YouTube. We still have the podcast page up, but that's going to get switched over here very shortly. However, we're back. We're back full force, bringing you the wrestling news.
Yeah, man. We talked about going to wrestling and stuff. I got to go to Extreme Rules a couple weeks ago.
You did.
Yeah, that was
like
a blast.
Last minute thing, wasn't it?
Huh?
That was like kind of a last minute thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like Friday afternoon. I got a text from my buddy Sean. I was like, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday or Sunday and Monday?" I was like, "Well,
you're talking about Sean from the Washington County Playhouse."
Yeah,
yes.
And he
one of our proud sponsors.
Yeah, and he's a huge wrestling fan, huge WWE guy. But he was like, "I got an extra ticket to Extreme Rule. Can you get out of all that?" I was like, let me make a few calls. So we left at noon on Sunday. We got to drove to Columbus, Ohio. About a 5.5 hour drive. Got to Columbus, got to the hotel, stayed 10 minutes down from the I think it was the Nationwide Center or Nationwide Arena or whatever.
Yeah.
Great seats, club level, could see everything. Had a great time. We were in a section with a lot of loud, excited wrestling fans. No one's super jaded or anything. It was a great time. It was a good pay-per-view too. I was extremely surprised that for kind of a throwaway pay-per-view, It was pretty good. The complaint the two complaints I had, it was called Extreme Rules, and there was one Extreme Rules match, um, and the ending to that match, uh, where the Demon Finn Balor was going to go for the coup de grace, and the top rope broke.
Oh, that top rope!
It was
Yes.
like it was WWE. It reminded me of the. It was like, oh God made it. Man, it was bad.
God,
It was such a bad ending to that match because the match otherwise was really good, and then it just felt spoiled.
oh yeah, nothing screams that the office didn't want you to win more than that turnbuckle.
Yes. Yeah.
And then there's footage of like the camera guys actually cutting the rope.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? Like,
No.
I'm just like, guys. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was a different way to get out of a match.
Yeah.
It was different. I'll give him that. However, really,
What are you gonna do?
just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
Yeah.
But ladies and gentlemen, I think that about does it for us this week.
Yeah.
For myself, Mike Reddick and Rennis Carball, we will see you next week. Same podcast time, same podcast channel.